Well, hello, and hello yet again. It is Friday, another Friday, another week. And as you can see, I have a northwestern friend that's with me already.
And I've brought spice both in the form of nuclear beans and in the form of some opinions.
No. What are those? What are those? You didn't show me those. What are those?
Those are beans that I pickled with. That's a Reaper, or that's 1.5 Reapers in there, Carolina Reapers.
Well, that is so very appropriate because the first story we're going to cover tonight is kind of explosive. All right. How you guys doing? Where are you tuning in from? And happy Friday to all of you. Ian, you as well. Happy Friday. How was your week?
Oh, it was good. I didn't expect to be this interested in this trial, and it's been
No.
all I have done this week because I kind of thought this trial was gonna be boring. I literally put it on just to have some talking in the background while I did other work.
Same.
And oh my god, it was not boring.
Yep. And then you just couldn't stop.
Yeah, I got hooked. Like, just I'm stuck.
And every week, here's Vez. Hey Vez, how you doing? Drinking a brandy, cherry liqueur, orange juice mixed with the pups cuddling around me to end a very crazy week. It was a crazy week. Santé Rob. Did I say that right? That's French. How do I say that in French?
Santé.
Santé. Santé.
I believe it's basically to your health.
To my health. Well, to everyone's health, because wow, my health was great like at the start of this week. And then like I don't think the mental health was impacted too much by this trial, but it did result in some screaming and yelling and arguing.
I enjoyed all the screaming and yelling, but it was still screaming and yelling.
Oh, it was. Hempland, Texas with cherry protein, collagen, energy tea. That sounds, I don't know if that sounds wonderful or dangerous. I'm not really sure, but it sounds fun. Happy Friday coming in from Las Vegas, Nevada. That's wonderful. From Tasmania, Australia. Love it. Morning tea there. Wonderful. Idaho in the house. Kate, I'm sorry to hear that. Migraine almost every day this week, so woefully behind on everything. Looking forward to the highlights. We'll try to get through some of those. I'll do a verbal recap of everything that we've seen for the week, which should be pretty quick-ish. And then we'll get into some of the stuff today. But Ian has a recap at 10 p.m. tonight. So Ian has a recap that he's been doing this week. He's going to be at 10 p.m. tonight. So we're going to try and keep FNF. We're gonna do our best. We're gonna do our best. That's what we're gonna do.
And if there's overlap, there'll be people who catch up, with the start of it later on. That's just how that goes.
Melody, thank you. Ian, I make spicy pickled, I imagine is what they're supposed to say. Asparagus. So yummy. Interesting.
Ooh, that does sound delicious.
San Antonio, Texas, Dr. Pepper, buckle up. Indeed, we shall. Watching from Melbourne, Florida. It's Melbourne when it's pronounced in Florida. With my sister who's making some coffee cocktail. I love espresso martinis. They're fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. They're delicious. But yeah.
I usual am water. Not a coffee fan.
Well, I like coffee that has flavor. Like not the coffee flavor. Good evening. Hey, Gina. Good evening from Boca Raton, Florida. Hi, Rob and Ian. I saw that Chrissy Lee was in the chat earlier, and I do want to say hi to her. Keep an eye on your mail because there might be something coming from the shop to you within a few days. Lindsay, thank you very much. Red wine and chocolate donuts for dinner tonight. Ooh, because I'm an adult. That is the cool thing about being an adult. You can eat all the foods that you buy and drink all the adult beverages you wish. With responsibility. Yep, exactly. Rose in Chicago. Thank you, FD Food Fairy. Much appreciated. Chrissy. Oh, I knew you. I saw you there. Missed you guys. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Keep an eye on the mail. You got something coming to you. So just because I know you've been going through a lot with a bunch of surgeries. So, and I have some other stuff to make this weekend for some member gifts. So that's going to be one of the weekend chores this weekend. Is to get in the shop and make some stuff. LOL Lawn Lumber saying his stream is going to be 3 hours. No, two-ish. So I posted a poll. Hey, Kurt. Okay, good Friday to you as well. Good Friday to you as well. We're going to keep this stream short and sweet. So, Kurt, I'll catch you tomorrow. Give me a call and we'll chat then. I wonder what you've been. Oh, you were covering some Supreme Court cases this week. I got to catch up on those. So, yeah, let's do that. Josh at Ten Hog, thank you. Hello, Rob. Just want to say that you've been the best channel and chat on YouTube, and I look forward to every FNF every Friday. Thank you very much. That is a remarkable compliment, and that really does make me feel really good. So, Ethan, thank you very much. Anxiety fueled week equals Caparinas and Berea. Oh, ready for some fun. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So, one more. Heather, thank you very much. Our Friday was amazing. Celebrated Dad's last treatment, and he is all clear. That is worth raising a drink to. I've got
great news.
My Lawyers and Dragons cup.
My red wine and Coca-Cola.
Yep. I got to talk to Rick about making these things. They're fun.
I got to get back. I've got all these things I want to make, and this trial has blown up all of them.
I know there's this thing called time that's a construct that doesn't really exist. So
I've already given up on sleep. So what else is there?
I did that one too. It's kind of frustrating, but Wendy, thank you very much. Happy Friday. So happy to be live to see both of you. Well, I'm happy you're alive and live with us tonight. Thank you very much. Launard Amber, have you heard about the cops suing Afroman? I have. That's also something we're going to cover tonight. It's rather interesting. I think the cops have not really a leg to stand on.
I looked at it and I think that they're done. I think
they're roasted.
I don't think that they're going to survive motion to dismiss based on my read.
Yeah. So. Mav, thank you very much. Sent you both a gift. Wow. You guys never have to send me anything. It's really cool to see the stuff you guys make. The Discord is wild with some of the stuff that gets created. I love that community of makers and people that are just making stuff left, right, and centers. And thank you very much for that. I worked it up with my graphic artist friends. Thank you and enjoy. Thank you, Mav. Very much appreciated. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to star these. Alex, this one's for you, Ian. Ian, I drink red wine all the time, and you've changed my world with red wine and Coke. Well, Ian, would you like to show what it is that you are consuming this evening? Because I think it's a travesty.
So it's not even good red wine in this because you don't want good red wine in this. This is Apothic, which is basically mixing wine, I'm going to say, together with Coca-Cola. And it's delightful. Also, it's relatively low alcohol, so I can have a drink, but I won't get as smashed as I feel like I might otherwise because, oh my God, the stuff going on just drives me to, I'm going to get to the bottom of some, about 50-50. You don't need to have it exact, but approximately.
Or you go with 0 in the Coca-Cola department and then 100% in the red wine department. That's or vice versa, depending on your proclivities. But
come on, it's good
what?
Stuff.
It's a travesty, is what it is. It's terrible. Paladin Phil, thank you. Steve Leto covered this and covered the Ohio laws in place. Cops are done. I think that you don't even need to get to Ohio. I think just on its face, the lawsuit itself is.
Oh, looking at the Ohio law, though, there are provisions that allow for this kind of lawsuit, but the cops are not within them. And I think that if it were filed here, I would not only be asking to dismiss, I'd be asking for costs on the basis of a frivolous lawsuit and a lawsuit intended to suppress free speech.
Yep.
I'd be saying, you sued me, I should be walking away with your money.
He might do that suing too. Okay, let me do this. Let me roll the intro, then we'll get into our first story and we'll get moving because tonight we're going to be on pace and on some type of schedule. So I'll see you guys in the back end. All right. So, Ian, out of curiosity, and I put up a poll wondering what the response might be, and I'm actually surprised at some of the answers. So the poll was about, let me see if when it populates. Have you ever heard of the Festival of Exploding Hammers?
I have.
What? Really?
I mean, a ton of people sent me that link.
This is so cool. So the results of the poll with 1,300 votes in were 2% saying yes, 40% saying no, but I must know, and 57% saying no. So I'm going to go with what I want to say, which is no, but I must know. So for those of you who did not understand or don't really know of this, there is this magical thing in San Juan de la Vega in Mexico. Go away, you lead. Saying the Festival of Exploding Hammers. Nothing like a religious festival celebrated with blow up sledgehammers.
I mean, can you disagree with that?
I can when you see some of the footage. So here we go. Let's go into a little bit of background here. And let's see if we can. Let me see where San Juan de la Vega is. Let me see if I can. It is located, looks like central Mexico, central and southern Mexico. Okay. So that's where we're located. Every February, for centuries, locals in a small town in Mexico have thrown a bombastic festival unlike anything in the world. The souvenirs from attending can be lifelong, and we're not talking the lame story about drinking too much on a holiday, but rather scars from real legitimate shrapnel wounds, some calling it the bomb hammer party. Way back in the 17th century, the town's namesake, affectionately referred to as San Juantito, became embroiled in a battle with the area's wealthy landowners. And the Santito had a penchant for stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. He earned himself something of a reputation for being Mexico's Robin Hood. From here, the particulars get a little fuzzy. The modern day celebration at San Juan de la Vega is a bastardized reenactment of the skirmish between San Juantito and the local Dons. Which side possessed the original hammer bombs is forever lost in the smoky haze of history. Nonetheless, the celebration of the conflict continues to be celebrated near the time of Lent each year. You know what? Nothing says Lent like let's strap some explosives to a hammer and see what happens.
I kind of agree.
So let's see if we can't, because yeah, I have this muted because there's a track behind it. But for those of you wondering what this might look like, wonder no further. So, yeah, Yep. Exploding hammers.
I can say that as much as I enjoy like explosives and fireworks and shooting and so forth, you could not pay me enough to do this. I would not
there's
do
that
this.
song like Dumb Ways to Die, like Dumb Ways
Yes.
to Die. This is one of them. I don't know how this
is like
didn't make it
3
into
of
song.
them.
Look at that. That is packaging tape with what looks like, I'm imagining that is probably tannerite.
I don't know.
And just in a little package. And we're gonna go ahead and just smash that into a railroad tie and see what happens.
It's a thing, isn't it?
Apparently it is. And these poor souls. I mean, this is just in the middle of the street.
Now, can you imagine if you work the night shift that day?
That's a kid. That's a kid.
But like, this would be such a bad week to work the night shift. Now, it looks like the kid's just got a hammer. Oh, no, he's got
Nope.
He's got the junior size explosives.
Ian, you spoke too soon. You spoke too soon.
I did. He's got the junior size explosives. This is why men die sooner than women. Because I haven't seen a whole lot of
in with a super chat that like exactly says that.
Yes.
Thank you, M169, because that needed to be said and said loudly, just as you did. This is why women live longer than men. 1000%. Because you know what would happen? I am guaranteeing you, if Ian and I were located here and down here visiting, we would probably be like, this is super dangerous. Give me one.
I would probably be like, this is super dangerous. And then like 5 or 6 drinks in, it might be like, I could do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look so hard.
You know, at least they're wearing PPE, which includes a face mask, which I don't know if is there for the cough purposes or for whatever else. This is the different version of 4th of July.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, some people have got to straight up die doing this.
This is so ridiculous. Look, I have done some very foolish things. I don't know if I should finish that. I have done some very foolish things. We're going to leave it there. I don't know that I've ever gone this far.
Yeah, no, I have not gone that far.
Yeah. So, Ohio, where is it? Oh, dang it. Yeah, they're not even Ohio. Nope. Not in Ohio. This is in Mexico. So, that was the short little story that I saw that one of you guys sent me that was so amazing that I had to pull it up. Because I didn't believe it was a thing until I saw that it was a thing. Now, I don't know about you, but the idea of an exploding hammer that I'm wielding after possible intoxication probably just, I don't know if that's something I want to do. Everyone's saying send it to Nick. Yeah, I guess I have to text Nick about it because I think he'll enjoy it. So, yeah. Let me see here. Let me catch up on some of these because there's some funny comments. No one bring these hammers to any of my job sites. Thank you, Travel Hound. I like the avatar change, by the way. Love the avatar change. Yeah, no.
That was a Midjourney production, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, AI is getting fun.
It's wild. Rachel Duck, thank you. How do you have 0 safety measures? I hate to say the comment, boys will be boys.
The safety measures are you do a safety squint and
the safety squint. Yeah, that one. Where are my glasses? I don't know. This one. Yeah. Exploding croquet would be awesome. Thank you, Barney Cat. That would make croquet interesting. That's for damn sure. Dude, I need to see exploding croquet. Do not, chat. I don't care how exciting that looks. Do not do that with a croquet set. I don't advise doing this, period. From a practical
I was going to say
legal advice.
Yeah, don't do that at all. Like, and especially don't do that like within Canada, because I can tell you what the Canadian law would say about that.
Yeah, probably not a whole lot of good things. Marvin, thank you. I'm with Ian on this one. I enjoy wine and Coke, also called Huba mushroom here. Haven't had it in a while though. Okay, look, when we did this, we put this out on Twitter, and Ian and I had a back and forth on it. There were a lot of people who drank wine and Coke, and I did try it on a live stream, and I don't know how I felt about it. So,
better Adrian, thank you very much. Surströmming.
I think better than Surströmming.
I mean, we need to have you visit, and we'll do a Surströmming night.
Yeah, don't know. Don't quote me on that. I got to try them both. Adrian Angevine, happy Friday. So happy to make it to a whole live again. I missed FNF Live. Spring break is over Sunday, but tonight I'm celebrating with spicy jambalaya pasta. Ooh,
that
if
sounds
Uber
good.
Eats ever gets here, that sounds fantastic. Vez, thank you very much again. As I would say to my husband, another guy thing. Fair. The neurodivergent counselor, thank you. My week has been consisted of abuse reports. Ouch.
Ooh.
Tiny humans in crisis, making doctor appointments, and lots of parent calls. FNF will now relax me while I build Harry Potter Legos. No better way to relax than Harry Potter Legos. Thank you for your channel. Thank you, neurodivergent counselor, for all your contributions and for being here as well. Stephanie Richards, thank you very much. Hi, Robin Ian. Random question. What does SJ stand for in A and B SJ charge? A and B being assault and battery charge. SJ.
Now I'm just trying to think of what that would be. Summary judgment? No, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
It depends. It might be a jurisdictional quirk.
Yeah, that would make make sense.
That's curious. It might be a jurisdictional thing. I've never seen that before though. Lita, thank you very much. Ian, do you have a preference of type of brain you like? I.e. on a stand, colored veins, etc. That's a weird, very specific question.
I don't at the moment. I suspect one that probably can be removed to play with, because playing with it is probably part of the fun. I know where she's going with that one.
Is it always the brain on the counter whenever they're talking about testimony like that?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense then.
Like one that you could play with in the same way that they took it apart or took it down to play with.
Yep. Always the brain. Always. Trufflehound, check out the new hound, courtesy of Darcera. Thank you, Darcera and Trufflehound. I caught that. Looks great. Trisha Lynn, thank you very much. Speaking of your cup, was there a learning curve with Citrus Strip? What kind of heat gun do you recommend? I didn't use a heat gun. I saw your tweet. I didn't use a heat gun. Let it sit there for essentially 45 minutes and then go back with a Brillo pad or a non-abrasive blue, the blue Brillo or the blue 3M Scotch pad. So don't use a heat gun though. Heat gun and Citrus Strip, I don't think it mixes very well. JJ, thank you very much. You finally catching a live. Had an awful couple weeks being told I have breast cancer at only 36. I'm really sorry for that. FNF is just when I need to put a smile back on my face and try to forget the sadness. Happy Friday. JJ, don't focus on the sadness. View this as a speed bump, a challenge, something that will make you stronger as you go through it. You will have family that will come to support you, friends that will come to support you, people that will surround you. Cancer is a complete bitch, but it is also one of those things that brings out the best in your friends and people around you. So I have faith that you can do this. Fight that fight. Keep fighting it. 9-inch Nails Gal, thank you very much. Short and sweet FNF. Oh, Rob, your innocence astounds me. Pediatrician appointment for my son in 4 days and hopefully get ADHD meds to help his mental health. I hope that goes well for you and your son or daughter. Your son. You said son. Yep, exactly. Suzanne, thank you very much. Rachel, it is pronounced Duek. I apologize. Thank you for correcting me. Very much appreciate that. So let's do this. I think we would like to, let me do this. Let's do the Afroman real quick, because I know you're going to cover that on Monday, and then we'll get into, I almost said Murdoch for a second. Then we'll get into the recap before you go into your recap. Does that work?
Sounds good.
All right. So, Ian, while I pull this up, would you mind telling the chat what you have watched this week? I have to go grab something.
I mean, what I've watched this week has basically just been the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. It's been crazy.
Give your impressions.
So, I guess the opening is, Paltrow is being sued because this guy says that she crashed into him while skiing and that he's got all of the different, everything is now wrong with his brain. His brain was perfect. It was the best brain ever. We've heard that. Finest brain ever known to man. and now it is a defective brain because now it's just like yours. We've heard that it's such a major thing that now his brain is like the average person. So, yeah, I kind of figured this would just be a nuisance lawsuit against a celebrity, or maybe a valid lawsuit against a celebrity, but you'll just have to see what it is. But I thought it was going to be super boring, because most civil trials are. A debate over who screwed up in traffic and whatever. And this one is just so bizarre because the lawyering started out the worst, and
Hasn't gotten better.
It's gotten a little better.
Really? By what standard?
By the standard of, did you see those openings?
Yeah.
I mean, if the guy's not actively unzipping and peeing into the jury box, he's doing better than that opening, because that opening was the legal equivalent of doing that.
How did you get? I don't know. Do I even want to know how your brain got to that?
My brain is a very interesting place, because his attention deficit is all heck.
Okay. So now we're peeing in the jury box. That's where we went with this stream. Didn't see that cup. Oh, I said stream. There we go. Now I see. Now I can see. Now I can see how your brain got there. Never mind. I take it back. I recant my previous statement and argument.
But like, if we go over some of the recent trials, you could drop in like any of the lawyers that we were not impressed with, and they would do a better job. Like Elaine could just do a better job here. Yes, Zora agrees.
Zora has opinions. Yeah, exactly. Zora has opinions. And for those in the chat, I had to grab tissues. Allergies around DC has been something fierce this week, and I don't know what it is. It's driving me wild. But if I do disappear off stream, it's likely to just clear some of that DC lovely allergy season stuff. But let me do this. We'll do a swoop, get to Afroman.
Yes.
I have to slow that swoop down.
I just made one, and it's about 3 seconds.
I need a 3-second swoop. That's so awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, Afroman. Who is Afroman? If you guys don't remember, Afroman was the creator of the song So I Got High,
which is a great song.
Great song. I was going to go to class, but then I got high. Yeah, exactly. So, Afroman had someone, and by someone, I mean the sheriff's office in the city in Ohio where he lives, do a raid on his house. Well, more appropriately stated, they executed a search warrant.
Which was a raid.
It was a raid. And let me do this because I have the warrant. It's probably best to explain the warrant first.
Ooh, you've got the warrant. I don't have the warrant. I want the warrant. Send me the warrant later.
I'll send you the warrant later. So here is the search warrant. So this was the basis of the raid on his home in Adams County Court, Adams County, Ohio, the state of Ohio, County of Adams. Search warrant gives the number. Whereas there's been filed before me an affidavit demonstrating probable cause for a search to be made of. So before we get too much further, warrants are issued based on a probable cause affidavit that's filled out by an officer or law enforcement of the officer, who then says, this is what I have observed or have personal knowledge of that forms the basis of that there's probable cause that something illegal is happening. Please justify this search. That's essentially a request for a search. Okay. This is what was made the allegation of. So they're alleging the search of 1299 Russellville Road, Winchester, Adams County. That's his home. He put this out there, by the way. He published this information.
Can we comment on how modest his house is?
We can get there. Now, he has cars too, but we can get there. Being a single family, 2-story home with white siding, having shutters, blah, blah, blah. This is essentially the description of the property. Joseph E. Foreman, that is Afroman. Here's what they're looking for. Items of evidence included but not limited to unknown quantity of marijuana derivatives, any and all other drugs of abuse, drug paraphernalia, including scales, packaging materials, and paraphernalia used for the sale and administration of said drugs, money obtained from the sale of illegal drugs, documentation regarding the sale of illegal drugs, as well as weapons used for the protection of the above, which are being concealed in the violation of, these are the charges, possession of drugs, trafficking of drugs, and or kidnapping. Now,
How?
that was the part. Like, what?
Here's the thing that really astounds me is how do you search Afroman's house and find no marijuana?
I don't know.
Like, that's the most humiliating thing about this
I
thing.
don't know.
It's
That
like,
is it.
it's like we searched Snoop Dogg's house and we found no weed.
And I don't want anyone to accuse us of burying the lead, because that's essentially what happened. So they execute this search warrant on the house, and they do it not with an insubstantial force. They execute the search warrant what looks like either early morning hours or evening hours.
Yeah, they go in there like it's fucking World War III.
They do. So what does Afroman do in response to this? Best move I've ever seen, ever.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It just, and I want to be clear on this one. This is for the YouTubes. I am going to play this audio because I'm going to play the video.
Oh,
I know you're gonna shake my head. You're gonna shake your head.
We're gonna be done early, folks. As soon as that
video.
content ID hits it, it's gonna take the stream down.
Oh, we're gonna play at least a little bit, then I'll mute the audio. Is that fair?
It's gonna take the stream down, but okay.
What if I just mute the audio from the start?
Mute the audio from the start. Put it on.
Mute the audio from the start.
Put on closed captions, because I think they have closed captions, and
they
put
do.
it on without audio. That's what I was planning on doing when I talked about it.
Okay, so because I don't want this to go. I don't want this to be muted. I think
it's within fair use if we're commenting on things.
Correct.
But on a live stream, they'll just take you down and then they'll apologize later.
And that's the problem. I don't want to mess with it too much, because I don't want them to take the entire stream down. So here's what ends up happening. Afroman has on his property security cameras all over the property. I mean, kudos to whoever installed those things, because they're epic. They are awesome.
Although I wouldn't have security cameras on the inside of my house, but he did.
He did. And as long as you have consent of the people that live in the home, as far as, and we don't know the specifics of it. And I'm not giving legal advice on this one. Consult someone in your jurisdiction for the legality of installing cameras within dwellings. That's not something I'm going to opine on in this one. However,
if you're in Canada, not in bathrooms or like the guest bedroom where people might get freaky.
Yeah, that's probably a fair criticism, period. So here we go. And I'll put the link in the description. Give me just a minute. Let me get this one up, and then I will go ahead and put the link in the description while that's playing. So we are muted, but closed captioning is on. And what's playing over this is Afroman has given a little bit of a song, put a song to this. Will you help me repair my door? So he made a music video using.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah. Who is Afroman? Afroman is the rapper / singer of So I Got High. Do. I was going to go to class, but then I got high. And other hits that are fantastic. And it brought me back to like college / high school. So this is the video that he took from his security cameras that he stitched together into a music video, not playing the sound, but I'll put the link in the description. Let me do this. Won't do that. So Afroman, will you help me repair my door? And they're searching the home.
Is the closed captioning just music? Oh my God. Yeah, it's will you help me repair my door? Now, he's got a lot of cars. And I'll tell you that I think at least one of those cars is worth more than my house. And I don't know if I'm frozen or Rob's frozen. All right, it looks like I'm still here and Rob is frozen. Folks, Rob has had a hard computer crash. So that's why I was looking a little confused. The good news is that this stream will not die because I'm still here. So because I'm still here, it'll keep the thing going. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm just going to do my best here, okay? Let's see. Will you... All right, now I got to pull this up. The good news is that we will be without audio. So I don't think the video is available to me here, but we're just I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to turn on closed captions. I'm going to kill the audio. I'm going to maximize this. Let's go back to the... There we go. All right. Somebody's saying, can I play? All right, folks, I'm going to try my best on this. 1 second. I'm going to play a very short second of it, and I'm going to see if you guys can hear it. All right. Did you guys hear the note? If you heard the note, let me know. If you didn't hear the note, let me know, because I'm going to... I'll sort of repeat the lyrics. I'm hearing no's. All right. So I've got this working correctly so that I can listen to the audio and I can sort of repeat the lyrics to you. This is going to be real bad, folks, but it'll get you the lyrics. Man, I want those cars. So right now he's just humming. And hopefully you guys don't hear it, because otherwise we are going to get struck. Will you help me repair my heart? Will you help me repair my gate or my door? Sorry. What you were looking for. Will you help me repair my gate and door? The streaming is pretty awful. Would you lemon cake? Would you? Or you can take as you want, or as you want to take. Mistake. Would you like to have a slice of my lemon pound cake? Sorry, folks, my singing is awful. And kidnapping. The warrant says narcotics and kidnapping. Are you hitting? I make my money rapping. Does the warrant say narcotics? Well, I know narcotics, but why kidnapping?
Glad to see that you were able to pull that up. See, this is why I set it up that way.
The kidnapping victims inside my suit pockets. Kidnapping victims, my suit pockets.
Oh, please tell me that I'm not the only one hearing Ian sing right now.
Yep.
Good. Good.
Is there 1,000 pounds of weed in my suit pockets? Need to stop it. My singing is awful. Pounds of weed.
I don't think it's awful. I think it's great.
Suit pockets.
All right, so I'm struggling with the picture right now, but you guys can hear me, right? So hopefully the camera chills out and I can come back on stream in a minute, but I'll keep talking.
Yep.
Dude, what the heck? So this entire video gets made, right?
Yep.
And the officers were not happy about this.
There's no kidnapping victims in my CDs.
Well, he makes a whole nother song. Lemon Pound Cake.
I haven't heard that one yet.
So he's just using all of this. Literally for everything. Lemon Pound Cake was the other one he made. Fantastic.
How many pounds of weed did you find in my CDs?
All right, so you can basically see that this is security cam footage, the entire thing. Why are you stealing my money? Now,
hard.
it's in my legal work every day. Every day.
You're stealing my legal work hard every day, pay taxes, money. That's so fantastic. Connected my cameras.
Yep.
The sheriff disconnected my cameras.
Yep.
Sheriff and he's locked in Summers. The Sandy Sheriff Department disconnected my camera. I mean, somebody's saying, did they not see the cameras? They did.
They saw them. I mean, it took them a little bit, but they did see them. This part where they break down the door.
I don't know the song well enough to sing along with it, but yeah.
They legit bust down the door. So, and he goes in with full on shield in the front. Thank you, Machiavellian Cheese. Ian is now known as DJ Soup Pockets.
Nice.
Yep. Was that an exploding sledgehammer? Nope, that's a battering ram. But you know what? The exploding sledgehammer probably would have done the same thing. It's just, it's wild. And the sheriff's just sitting there going, huh? Huh? Like,
we got nothing.
How? So I don't know if you guys know how these searches work. They don't ever find nothing. It's always something.
I have actually never seen nothing found. And that includes people who are completely innocent. You know, I've had them find stuff when they searched the wrong address. Like straight up, when they search the wrong address, they're like, yeah, and we found this and that and the other. And this includes like all the people who, because lots of people call me when the police are at their house searching. Right. And I literally dealt with a file where a guy was like, they're at the wrong house. I have explained to them that their warrant has the wrong address and they're still searching. And
they don't care.
They still found enough to lay a charge on him, although they dropped it later because that was stupid. But, you know, yeah. They found nothing.
So the sheriffs were not happy about that. Like they really were unhappy about the fact that they were depicted, and they were unhappy enough that they filed a lawsuit.
And it's such a BS lawsuit.
This is just ridiculous. So as
also,
you
I'd like to apologize to the chat for my singing. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Apologize for nothing. That was fantastic.
Please,
I think
nobody sue me for intentional infliction of mental distress.
No, I think the chat loved it. There is no apology ever needed for anything like that. So they file a lawsuit, and you want to know how you basically make sure that no one looks at the footage. You file a lawsuit over it because that guarantees that no one looks at it ever.
Well, now isn't that music video going to have to be entered as an exhibit?
Yep. As is the next one.
This is a fun question. Is there such a thing as a decoy house? I've heard of a case with a decoy house.
Yep,
The
there
decoy
are.
house was specifically to catch bad cops. That was a fun case, but I'll have to dig it up. It's like 20 years old now, but there was a department that they knew was bad and was stealing money, and so they set them up to search a decoy house that was a fake drug house where they'd already inventoried every dollar and every ounce of drugs that they left in that to catch the cops.
Just amazing. They're just mad they didn't find anything. No, they were mad they didn't find anything, and they got more mad when Afroman put out this video, and they filed this lawsuit in response. And here's the lawsuit.
They're gonna get smoked.
So these are a bunch of the sheriffs that were there. Complaint for damages and injunctive relief with jury and demand for endorsed hereon. So sorry, complaint for damages and injunctive relief, and they're demanding a jury. Going to the merits of the lawsuit, a bunch of different defendants, they're naming producers, etc. So all of the plaintiffs end up suing.
Here's the fun thing. I wouldn't have known who any of these cops were if they didn't sue.
I know.
But on Monday, I'm like, I don't know if you're going to go through it. I'm planning on going through everybody's name because, hey, they put it in the public.
You do that. And when they filed it with their full addresses, not redacted. And I didn't pull that up. I had those redacted in here. But these are just naming the parties. And here's just some of the basics. So Foreman is Afroman. So we'll refer to him as Afroman from here on out. He basically creates music and videos. And he also sells beer. They are alleging he sells marijuana. I don't know that they really got that on him, so that might be something interesting.
Well, I mean, he might. I think in his state it's legal, so he might actually, sell legal weed.
Yeah. This one's funny. They want a jury trial. Yeah, I thought that. I thought that too.
No, the plaintiffs demand a trial by judge alone.
So
to go on this one.
On August 21st of 2022, law enforcement officials from the sheriff's office conduct a search of Afroman's house pursuant to a lawfully issued search warrant. Look, the search warrant was issued. I'm not going to go into the merits of the affidavit. That's for the criminal matter in the future. I think he's got a countersuit that he's going to file. Afroman was not present at the time, but his wife was in the home, observed the search, and recorded portions of the search. So yeah, I'd be pissed. His wife is inside the house, and they break down the door and the gate like that. And the wife, recorded portions of the search on her camera phone, including the faces and bodies of many of the law enforcement officers. You do not have a right to privacy when you're conducting official business like that. You don't get to say you don't get to show my face. That's not how that works.
I've got a right to privacy when I'm in somebody else's house.
That is definitely not how that works.
Yeah, no. Well, and specifically a right to privacy as against the homeowner, but not like while doing anything private. It's just, yeah. Somebody's asking, am I drinking warm beer? No, this is cold beer.
Afroman's residence was equipped with several security cameras, which also recorded many portions of the search, including the faces and bodies of many of the law enforcement officers involved. After the search was conducted, Afroman used portions of the recordings of the search from his wife's phone and his surveillance cameras to create music video about the search, which you are allowed to effing do.
And which is also the funniest thing ever. And also, I think that this is on the highest levels of protected speech.
Yes.
Because they do,
absolutely.
When we talk about speech protections, they do rank speech, right? In the sense that your conversation about chit-chatting with the person at the bar is not at the highest level. Advertising is not typically at the highest level. Porn is not typically at the highest level. But political speech, criticizing the behavior of a state entity as to their conduct specifically against you, 100% the highest level.
Exactly. Observations of the government carrying out their government function are 1000% protected. So they're pissed that he created videos, and they file this lawsuit to try and get him to stop. These officers and the people that they hired as attorneys don't really know how social media works, because once you go out and say, please stop doing the social medias, they social media even more. So
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be Streisand affected all over the place.
it already is. I think I put out a tweet this morning. It's like Streisand effect definition. This is the definition of Streisand effect. File lawsuit saying, please take my picture down while performing government function that you recorded on your private property with your private property, that it is your private property. I see this lawsuit. There's no way. I see this lawsuit getting tossed.
Yeah.
So
I think it's getting I think it's getting drop kicked, not just for that. There's other reasons as well.
Yeah, I'll let you go through that one on Monday, but I wanted to pull it up because the video itself, man, the story was so wild. I couldn't believe that it was actually a legitimate lawsuit. And then I pulled the lawsuit up and was going, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to sort of note here, as used in this chapter, persona means an individual's name, voice, signature, photograph, image, likeness, or distinctive appearance if any of these aspects have commercial value. Officer Dipshit of East Backwater, what is the commercial value of your face? I'm sorry. And that's only one ground on which I think they're done.
I think they're entirely roasted. I don't think that there's anything about this lawsuit that has any merit. I very rarely will come out and take a position like that. This is bullshit.
Unless like one of these guys is secretly Johnny Depp or some shit like that, I don't see how they proceed on the commercial value aspect.
And it's also one of those where there are certain officers and certain roles in departments where protecting anonymity is of a higher order. For example, undercover guys. But you know who doesn't execute search warrants? Undercover guys. They literally have search warrant divisions within police offices.
The undercover guy is never
busting down the door.
Yeah, and like the undercover guy does one thing. He does the undercover work and never, like, ideally never meets the person again except in court.
And you know what I'm even more curious about, and I'll talk with you about this on Monday. What I'm even more curious about is whether these officers might have unintentionally placed this law at a certain amount of risk. If the law itself that they're suing under,
I don't think so.
Do you not think it might be struck for vagueness?
Vagueness is a different question. If you're talking about the rights issues, I think they've got a substantial carve out in this one. For the purpose of this section, to use an aspect of an individual's persona in connection with any news, public affairs, sports broadcast, or account does not constitute a use for which consent is required under Division A of this section.
Yeah.
Is this guy not? It's news, it's public affairs, it's an account.
Yep.
They have a broad carve out for protected speech.
Even if it's a dramatized account, it's an account because he's narrating over it.
Yep. I am pretty sure Afroman ran this by a lawyer, and that lawyer is better than whatever lawyer the cops have hired, is my feeling on this.
It's going to get annihilated. I can't see how this stands up.
Also, I haven't thought about Afroman in like 2 decades.
I know.
And now I'm like, I want to go buy his stuff.
Like, just brilliant. Like, I don't mean to say like brilliant marketing, but my gosh. Yeah, I know. I haven't thought about him since a long time ago. And now I'm going, this is great.
Yeah. I think that they may have just resurrected this guy's career because I'm hearing him getting I'm hearing him getting airplay on like news channels and radio stations and so forth. Like radio stations are like, we want to tell you the story and here's the song. And I can guarantee you those radio stations aren't relying on fair use, fair dealing.
Oh, they're paying.
They're paying. Like,
oh yeah,
Afroman is sitting there getting like, this is going to make bank for him. So, yeah, and I like Lindsay. Months of people requesting it. It took Afroman to get Ian to sing on stream.
Pretty good. There's a couple of good ones. They only found a Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. Yep, that's Afroman.
Well, and I also see Selena Rosera saying they just introduced Afroman to the next generation. Yeah. If you're like 20 or, 18 to 20, which is a big demographic, you've never heard of Afroman. This is like the stuff your parents listen to. And now he's somehow cool again. And I'm saying this not as an expert in what's cool among the 18 to 20 somethings. I'm just reading Twitter.
Yep. It was pretty funny. That was a different one. Ian is a good friend for stepping in for Rob. Yep. I very much appreciate that.
And always, anytime.
It's one of those things where, and I would love to do the same thing for him to the extent he ever needs it. So yeah, it was awesome. Thank you. Brentwood and Ian. Susan Davidson, you nailed him well, Rob. This is gold, pure gold. That was completely unintentional on my part. That was quite literally blue screen of death. And I texted Ian immediately and was like, please pull this up.
Yeah, please help.
Yeah. Rua, Ari Afroman, any publicity is good publicity. He's getting a lot of it.
Here's the other fun thing. It's good publicity for Afroman. It might be terrible for these officers. I think they might be killing their careers.
Yeah.
Because let's say this goes to trial, and let's say this trial is televised. All of these officers have now forever indicated that they will never do undercover work.
Yep.
You've been on camera as a cop. You are done. You're never going to be an undercover. Sorry.
Dang it. Hang on. Can you pull up chats real quick? I've got to fix this thing.
Sure. Did you see the case in Dallas, Fort Worth, where bad guy hides in the house of vacationing homeowner? McKinney tore up house, woman sued city and won, eminent domain. Interesting. I might have to try to find that. That's pretty cool. Let's see the next one here. I'm just going to pull up super chats. Yes, crazy trial, but she was an awesome witness. I think that's referring to that's got to be Paltrow. I don't know who else was awesome today, because everyone else was awful. Sorry, they just were. Barney Cannon saying, is there a way to see the number of members in a channel? Super generous woodlings tonight makes me happy. I don't know if there is a way. Maybe going into the analytics, but I don't have the power to do that, so I can't answer that question.
All right, we have tried to replug in, so hopefully we're back.
Long question. I think this might be one for another stream, but what's your take on AI, chat GPT, etc., ethics, uses, misuses, bias? How should schools? I feel like we should
Braxton, I love this question, but this question is a whole live stream of its own.
I feel like we need to get like 4 or 5 people on to have a debate on this one.
Oh yeah, I agree. But this is a good, very good topic. And Braxton, it has not gone unnoticed. It's just a matter of getting a panel together to have that debate.
And I got to say, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback about our debate on the other day. So that was,
people, it's one of those things where, to be quite honest, I like disagreeing, and I love what comes out of those disagreements and the discussions and arguments. It's one of the coolest things about having friends like this, where you can have that and to do it in a fashion that's respectful.
That's the big thing, is we could disagree and it's like, we're respectful and we walk away and nobody's pissed. Like, that's the cool thing about lawyers and also good friends, right?
Yeah.
Is you can be like, we disagree on this. And at the end of the day, it's like, cool.
Thank you, Braxton. I'll pull that up. We're going to put together a panel for that. So keep an eye out. One of us are going to do it. And I'll let you know when we do, to be quite honest. Truffle Hound exploding croquet. That's an elaborate castration. That's what that is. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. That's fair. Scotty Cat Mom, Runkle, I still say we just give Jenny the money.
I posted that to Twitter in a moment of frustration, and I stand by it.
This trial is something else. It's something else. And you know what? I'm sticking with my position. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. I think the truth is halfway between both of their narratives. I really do. Just like so many of these trials.
My suspicion at this point is that the truth is that his circumstances are a mix of aging, and I think he might have gotten a head injury.
I think he might.
But I also don't believe his account. And
I'm not sure I believe hers either.
If you made me pin a tail on the donkey here, I'm putting it on her account right now. I'm putting it on.
We can go through that because I do want to go through some of the facts there, because her account, from a logical perspective, based on how they have described themselves as skiers, doesn't
I'd
really
still give her the $1 today. If you
can give her the $1. You can give her the $1. I thought his move of coming into the courtroom when she took the stand was, oh my God, the worst decision you could have made.
I actually had to look it up to see, because I don't know, like, I know the US has a much stronger right to face your accuser thing. So I was like, does that apply in civil trials? And no, it doesn't. I did the research, and no. And I was just like, holy crap, he chose to do this.
Yes.
When the argument has been that he is obsessed with her.
Yes.
And obsessed with you definitely want to show up. And if I was the defense side, I'm writing a whole new page for my cross-examination.
We will get to that, because that's the part that I thought was, because he wasn't just appearing and sitting at the table. He was eager and popped out of his seat. But I don't want to get ahead of that, because we have to transition to that topic.
He had this moment when he was doing this weird thing with his tongue. Did you catch that?
No, but you can draw my attention to it when we get there.
I didn't have the timestamp, but there was a moment when he was like, and I was like, is that like a, and he didn't do it ever again. So I don't think it's like an unnatural, like, I don't think it's an involuntary response. It was weird.
It was tough. So let me finish these super chats and stay on topic, and we'll get over to Paltrow. Diana, they just mad they didn't find anything. I am inclined to agree. Sandra, thank you very much for the super chat. Rob, my husband's a cop and just said they are in it for a money grab, and all officers know they have no right to privacy while on duty. Yeah, that's the thing. If I talk to every cop I know and told them this is the facts that came out of this, they would say, that sucks for me. You don't get that option. You don't. You put that badge on, and when you're acting in your official capacity, you are subject to the same scrutiny as every level of government. We're allowed to film you and record you. Virginia Supreme Court just gave an opinion that live streaming a traffic stop supersedes the officer's claim that they need to not do that as a part of their safety. Live streaming is something you're allowed to do of traffic stops.
Yep.
In Virginia, that is. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. That guy's house, super modest.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Like, did they say it's a 2-story? Like, just that looked like my house. He's got pictures of his kids' drawings up on the wall. That looked like any ordinary house for, like, the house I grew up in was bigger than that. So, yep. And I mean, I grew up and my parents were not wealthy, right? So that was just weird that, like, you're going for a money grab on this guy who's living a very ordinary lifestyle.
I don't know. It was odd. It's odd.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it. Poison Elf. Ian, I love your brain. You're the best wingman ever. I agree. And
I haven't always loved my brain, but it's sort of hitting its stride in my 40s.
We revolt against it every now and then, against our respective brains. Lilith, thank you. Were the two of you friends before Det v. Heard? No, we had not met.
We had not even really heard of each. Like I hadn't heard of Rob until Det v. Heard.
Yep.
And it was quite literally, he was like, "Hey, which hotel are you staying at?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "How about Hotel Rob?" So
yeah, kind of, yeah. So he came and crashed with me. And then we did it twice. We went to Texas together, went to the Gundys. It's just a really great friendship.
Such a good time.
A lot of fun. He stole my tie, which is on his there, and then he left one for me, which is the Canada that's back there, because that's just what it is, and the internet likes seeing the fact that the ties are still around. So it's fun. It's a cool bromance. I love it. So let me do this. We'll do a swoop and we'll get to Paltrow, and then we'll get you out of here so you can do your recap.
Fair enough.
One more time for good measure. That's so much fun. So Paltrow. So today in the Paltrow case, Gwyneth Paltrow, who is being sued by Terry Sanderson. Terry Sanderson, there was a collision that was in 2016, February, I think 2016, was the collision itself at Deer Valley, which allows skiers, but not snowboarders. Not bitter. Don't worry about it. And the collision is claimed to have resulted in 4 broken ribs for Mr. Sanderson, as well as a concussion, which resulted in post-concussion syndrome. And he is claiming that that injury was sustained by him because of Gwyneth Paltrow's negligence in skiing in that day. Gwyneth Paltrow has countersued for $1, is seeking damages for $1 and attorney's fees, which are far more than $1. This has been taking place in Utah, in Park City. And the trial started out as, well, no one really knew about it. Then opening statements happened, and all of us were remarkably intrigued. I have to give a caveat here, because people have been asking when the next time they would see a Spidey Rob collaboration. Spidey and I filmed last night going over the opening statements. So keep an eye on the Behavioral Arts channel. If you don't know who Spidey is, he's a behavioral analyst and also just a really good guy. Does a lot of psychology. And he and I did a little collaboration on breaking down the opening statements and some of the first day of testimony. And he's going to release that on his video on Sunday. And we have been talking throughout this trial. So we're probably going to do another video next week sometime, just going through some of the other testimony. It's been really interesting. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. So this trial begins with opening statements. It goes wild. The plaintiff, Mr.
How does
Sanderson,
it get worse from there?
It gets terrible from there. The plaintiff, Mr. Sanderson, during opening statements, his attorneys made allusion to an argument they had before the hearing, before the trial, that said Mr. Sanderson, because of his mental condition, as a result of what they're saying were the injuries that were sustained by him from Ms. Paltrow, is not really capable of processing confrontation and being present in the courtroom at all times. This is not a criminal trial. You don't have a right to have the other person present at all times. So he excused himself from the courtroom and was absent for all bits of testimony from the beginning of the trial, which I think was what, Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday
until today, when Ms. Paltrow took the stand. We've heard from a witness that was a Facebook friend of his, whatever you want to call him, friend, buddy, right? Testimony from them, doctors, etc., and his daughters, 2 of his 3 daughters. Today, the second of the 3 daughters testified, which I think is the oldest, right?
I think, yes.
So, yeah. So let's get right into the testimony from today from the daughter, because when she starts testifying, we'll play it and I'll pause it because I have some observations about the nerves that I do want to talk about. Let's see the beginning of it. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
Mr. Sorensen, Thank you.
Hi. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in the case now before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God? I do. Thank you. You can have a seat.
Good morning. Would you start by getting your body toward the microphone position, and then give your full name and spell your name, please?
My name is Shae, Shae, middle name and maiden name Sanderson, Sanderson. Last name is pronounced like Harris with a lisp. It's Harith.
It's such a weird intro.
H-E-A-T-H.
Hi, Shay.
Hello.
Just as a little preliminary matter, as we're talking, just remember to say yes or no instead of nodding or it's okay.
Yes, sir.
I know you're nervous.
Yes, I am.
So that's okay. But what I say is less important than what the jury hears you say.
Okay.
So we're talking right now, but if you wouldn't mind addressing the jury when you're asking your questions or when you're answering your questions, excuse me, that would be wonderful.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Why don't
Initial observations, just from the outset, is not passing anyone. You don't need to be anyone that specializes in behavior analysis or anything like that to realize that she's nervous as hell.
Oh, she is super nervous.
Super nervous, which is, look, and people can comment about
Understandable.
testifying. Yeah, testifying in court is,
I got no beef about her being nervous.
me either. I tell clients all the time that everyone thinks that they know it's you get up there, you tell the truth, you want to get up there and you say the right thing. But until you actually sit on that stand, especially this is before you include cameras, you have no clue with the level of nerves you're going through.
I'm a lawyer and I was super nervous testifying in court. Super nervous.
And even the lawyer's nervous here too. He's giving a lot of the normal stuff, but you can tell he's got nerves. That happens with every lawyer. I tell people all the time, if you're a lawyer and you're not nervous going into court, you should stop practicing because you're not doing it right anymore. So I didn't really hate the nerves. Where I start to get annoyed is when she goes into some of the testimony. The other caveat with some of this, well, we'll get to that before I go into that statement. This lawyer, among all the different lawyers, I don't mind him. He does pretty well. He's a little timid.
I actually was like, where have they been hiding this guy?
I know.
Because he didn't piss me off.
His delivery is so much better than the others. Now,
all the other lawyers pissed me off.
And I think that's the big thing. So between him and what's the other one we call?
Except Clark Kent. Clark Kent is delightful.
Clark Kent, James. We don't mind him. In depots, he can be a real jerk, but in court, he puts on a great persona.
I actually kind of wonder if he didn't grow out of the jerk between now and then.
It might be.
Like I suspect he was taught by Owens and then has since learned that Owens's method is maybe not the best way to be.
That's probably a fair assessment. Yeah.
That's my feeling on that one.
Yeah. So let's see. We get into some of the testimony, and we won't have to go very far before I get to make the next comment, which kind of leads into a lot of her testimony.
Why don't we start, since you've already said your name, by telling us where you went to high school?
I went to high school in Soda Springs, Idaho, and it's a small little town.
Mm-hmm. And then where'd you go on to college?
I started at Utah State University in Logan, Utah. And transferred up to University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho.
Okay. And did you graduate from college?
I did.
Okay. And what was your degree?
I have a bachelor's of landscape architecture.
And briefly for us, give us after college a little bit of your work history.
After college, I took my first job in Beaverton, Oregon, which is funny because it's really close to where I was born in Hillsboro, Oregon. So I was returning back to where my roots were. And I worked for a small family-owned business. My boss was about 72 years old. And his daughter also was my boss, but he was the most joyful man I've ever known. He made me laugh every day, and he passed away recently, and he's going to be missed. But
This is
That was
nerves.
so intentional.
This is also nerves that are heightening a lot of emotionality that she might have. Yes, it was
They
emotional.
knew
and
what
yes,
this
it was
question would
intentional.
elicit.
They did. The attorney knew what it would do.
The attorney was driving her directly towards this in order to make her sympathetic with the jury.
Yep. So this is a part that I think is interesting
Super
because
manipulative.
I think the attorney is doing it. She doesn't really have control over this. This is nerves that are meeting emotion. The attorney knows that it's going to get her there. So I thought this was, I'm looking at the attorney going, really, dude? Really? You really?
Oh. The thing is to me, this came off as manipulative as hell. I don't know if it will to the jury because, like, when you're a lawyer, you can kind of see behind the curtain and you can see what the strategy is here. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we get through that, talking about the job and her first job. Then we go on to the van. And I think I've got it here.
He feels, though.
you're right. From his daughter's perspective, I feel that his life is exhausting.
And it's hard to hear. Have you noticed things about his ability? Excuse me.
That's a fair assessment, Philip. You can have that. Yeah.
His ability to listen.
Yep.
That's fair.
My dad used to be a really good listener. But since the accident, his brain has to work so hard at what he's going to say next that his ears just shut down and he's goes inside. He's internal.
She's read the expert reports.
Yep.
She's read, and here's the thing. I am 100% convinced she's been watching this trial.
And you can reach that conclusion. I don't know that I'm there.
I'm there.
That's fair. I have no problem with that. And I don't really think that, look, you guys can form opinions one way or the other. And opinions are just that. We're allowed to kind of interpret what we're seeing and form an opinion based on that. And I don't blame anybody for forming an opinion based on what they're seeing here. Let me tell you where my reading of this comes from. And I was kind of commenting on this earlier. I represent primarily family law cases. So I'm a family law attorney. I deal with people that are remarkably emotionally charged about either custody or visitation disputes or about their exes. I have witnesses that are remarkably difficult to control on the stand because they have a narrative that they very, 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 very much want to say. And they believe, because they've lived in that life for a period of time, that they want to say everything. They want to get it out. And controlling those witnesses is almost impossible. And this attorney didn't really do a good job at setting the pace from the very beginning. Don't give her very many open-ended. Cut her off because she has a narrative she wants to get through. I have no doubt that what she's relaying here is personal observation that's bolstered by what the expert opinions are saying. And I think that she is adding in that flourish of after the accident to kind of help her dad's case.
She's really trying to help. Like, she's not
really
just testifying. She wants him to win. She is
Yes.
actively pitching for
Yes.
that. And it's a problem because she comes off as a motivated witness.
She very much does.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where she could have been living with this challenge of dealing with her father, which when you hear some of the testimony, there's a lot of it that rings kind of true of the difficulty she has with her father.
Yep.
Him not listening, etc. The van thing, when she testifies to the van, I feel very, very, very much that probably was a dispute that happened and occurred between the two of them. However, what I didn't really understand was how that incident could be directly attributed to the injuries that we have seen.
You know how many people I've seen who just have that kind of trouble.
Yep.
Like, this is one of the things about getting old, is that you start losing the ability of some of the stuff you used to do, and it's hurtful. It, like, people get upset by it. And even in situations where it's just a misunderstanding, if you are losing, like, if you're having that frustration of losing ability, it can be a point of tension.
This is the point, because I'm looking at her testimony through the lens of what I heard from Polly, and with the understanding that Jenny has not yet testified, but Polly stuff, etc., and also some of the medical stuff. So I've had the benefit of watching a lot of this, and I have a fair bit of experience with people who have gone through, whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah.
It shatters the family.
It
100%.
really does.
Like, completely shatters the family. And we don't know, because a lot of the symptoms that have been described by these experts seem very, very in line with what people perceive when they see dementia or Alzheimer's, the memory loss, the incoherent speech, the frustration. These are things that we oftentimes see with that. So the frustrations that the daughters are expressing, I'm not invalidating what they're seeing or saying it doesn't exist. I just don't know that it's tied to this incident. And that's the question of this trial. So I wanted to be careful and give that caveat when I'm talking about what she's testifying to, because I don't want to just dismiss everything she's saying as being a complete manipulation or lie. I think she wants this to be tied to the lawsuit so badly, because it makes it easier for her to deal with this.
I don't know. I'm torn between whether or not she's in a situation, like, there's a few different motivations playing in my head. One of them is just, there's a lot of money on the line, and she is likely to be a direct inheritor of some of this money. So that seems like a potential motivation. Two, dad seems like a controlling D-bag.
Yes.
And it could be that dad is fully able to direct his daughters. I get this feeling that dad has good control over 2 out of the 3 daughters, and that we've got Jenny who's like, nah, screw you. So that's a thing. But the other thing is, yeah, there's definitely the possibility that it's easier to think that your dad is like this because he was injured than just because it's just age.
Yep.
Not everyone ages gracefully. Some people age into jerk bags.
Yep.
And, in
oftentimes not a result, not something that we can actually blame them for. That's the saddest part.
Well, in fact, there's certain kinds of jerk baggery that are diagnostic of certain kinds of aging problems.
Yep.
For instance, if somebody starts accusing their family that's around them of, like, plotting against them, that often indicates hearing problems, because suddenly this person whose hearing is failing thinks that people are whispering around them and not including them in conversations, when really it's just they can't hear anything. But that's like an indicator. And similarly, when you get somebody's memory starts to fail, they start thinking that people are gaslighting them, right? Imagine you live in a world where everyone is, you feel, making up bullshit about what just happened. And
yep,
why don't you remember this? Of course you're going to be upset and angry. So,
and that's the funny part, is the gaslighting. I want you to take the gaslighting. Let's say that the gaslighting extends down to the daughters who have been dealing with this decline. And I'm going to tell you guys, like, I have dealt with this in various situations, and it was hard. This was hard to listen to.
yeah,
This is hard to listen to. My grandfather went through something where it was, before he passed, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch him talk to his wife. It was hard to watch him talk to his kids. It was hard to hear all of that stuff. And I don't know how I would have testified to any of this either.
I dealt with a file where a guy who was, with dementia, slapped one of his grandkids because he thought the grandkid was behaving in an absolutely ridiculous way to them. And it was really just his brain was struggling, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I get this mix that I don't know which it is, right?
I know. And I don't believe her story. Like I think that she's reaching for everything that she's going for here.
There's
she
parts
that just are not plausible.
There's parts that feel like a reach. There's parts that feel like a lie.
Correct.
And
And
that's
the problem. And that's the problem with this testimony is the second you start throwing in those reaches, the jury and judges, when you have testimony like this, when this starts happening, the second you throw in one thing that kind of feels the way that you feel when she testifies about some of this, you then go back and can question everything else that she's saying. And you're not wrong for doing that, because if someone is capable of creating a narrative or exaggerating a narrative, do you trust the rest of their testimony?
And it's not just every bit of her testimony, because it starts to spin into a question of, is this whole thing a concocted arrangement between several people? That's...
I'm not there yet. I'm frustrated.
I'm kind of feeling it.
I'm frustrated. Like I'm quite frustrated. And I've told you, I think I've kind of told you what I think. Just me speculating entirely is I think that skiers on a mountain are both mobile, and I don't know that I could assign fault to either one of these people for this incident.
I mean,
So-
I don't think it would be unreasonable for the jury to come back and say, I'm awarding
50-50.
$0 to each side.
Yep.
Um,
Honestly, with where everything is, I don't know. I'm going to hold out.
If
I
you
want
called it
to-
today, like if this was the end of it and this was all we heard, I'd give Paltrow her $1.
Would you after today?
I would.
Let's see. I want to see what Sanderson says. Now, this is with the caveat of what we're going to get to next, because I want to kind of fast forward here.
Now I want to caveat that. I am like 90% certain that his version of things didn't happen, but I'm only like 55% on her.
Yeah. So the other thing is Owens does cross in this one. I'm trying to find the specific moment because it was about five minutes before they broke. So it was about 6 hours and 10. Owens does cross. And yes, I'm speeding through this because Ian's going to do a more comprehensive recap in about 30 minutes. And I don't want to cut that off. So let's see if we get here. Owens does cross, which instantly made me nervous. Now, she turns into a different person during cross-examination. She becomes instantly defensive.
Instant. It's like a
Instant.
switch is flipped.
It's a switch. You know where my head went when she did that? It went to the depot. I was like, that depot must have been ruthless.
Maybe, but also I just feel like she is a motivated witness.
She might be, and she's going to preservation mode.
You watch cops do this all the time,
Yeah.
where they're like, I'll give you everything. And then on cross-examination, they're like, they just suddenly have this memory where they forget all sorts of things that are inconvenient. And it's like,
Yep.
yeah.
It was really interesting. Nanner's pulling up. Where was it? I'm sorry.
You're looking for nanners?
There was this one. As a great attorney once said, "Thank you." By the way, I think that's reference to what I was saying. It's 50%
you.
plus a grain. 50% plus a grain of sand. It's 50% plus 1 grain of sand. That's the tipping scale on liability. My head went to the possible depot because I was there with a previous witness. So biases exist. And I had this discussion, honestly, with Spidey, because he was asking me about bias. And I said, people use the word bias too liberally and too aggressively. bias is basically that you have a predisposition or a desire for a certain outcome. And it's not one that can really be explained by the facts that you are aware of. It's just a predisposition or a desire for a certain outcome to occur. That is a bias.
Yeah.
When you are testifying or observing testimony with that even inclination for a desired outcome, it can change your perspective on the testimony. For me, I have a bias towards believing people at their core. I have a bias towards believing people until they prove me wrong, which is where I get to the point where I go to the depot. Ian is more cynical, not a negative observation. It's actually a positive observation. Ian's more cynical. So his bias goes towards that type of behavior, goes towards making it up.
I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I'll tell you, I see a lot of lying in court.
Yes. And that's where our biases, not to say we're persuaded one way or the other or desiring one outcome or the other, but it's how that can influence how we perceive the testimony. You have two attorneys who have been practicing for more than a decade each, and we can view testimony in a different way.
Yep.
It's
That's
fascinating.
That's healthy, right?
Yeah.
Like I watch Emily D. Baker, and sometimes I disagree with her takes. But
I do
you know
too.
what? Sometimes she's right.
Yep.
Like Murdoch, I was more leaning towards. I mean, I said I think the jury's got more than enough to potentially convict if they want to. But I think they're probably, I was leaning towards acquittal. Emily was like, no, they're going to convict. And Emily was right on that one. She had that one. Different perspectives are useful. And I get more out of talking to people I disagree with than I do with people I agree with.
And I do too, because here's the other thing about that. When you talk to people we disagree with, that's the great part because I get to have that discussion that I just had about explaining what biases are and how they don't really mean something negative. It's just an observation that some person is going to see facts different than you do.
Yeah.
So let's see, because I want to get to the deposition part.
There has a clear recollection of who hit whom in the ski accident. And your answer?
In my deposition was yes.
Okay. And would it surprise you if he takes the stand in like 2 hours and says, no, I don't?
I
Would
have
that
to be
surprise
honest.
you?
When would it surprise you?
If he contradicts you in like 2 hours.
Actually, as I reread my deposition, I thought, you didn't even answer that correctly. Of course.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh is indeed right.
The second that this answer came out, I stopped doing what I was doing and looked at my screen. I was going, oh, shit. And there's no way, because the attorney at that point in time is helpless.
I stopped everything and I was like, timestamp. I need this timestamp.
The attorney is helpless at this point because you can't object. You can't do anything. That witness is out there on an island. So if you can't. Oh.
If you're plaintiff's witness, this is the worst time. Yeah, because as you say, you can't object because A, there's no valid objection, and B, you're just going to flag it to the jury as this is a major problem. But this is basically like if you're sitting there, you look over your toddler, your toddler's been playing nicely, and then you look away, you look back, and the toddler's got like a pair of scissors in one hand and a hand grenade in the other.
And their sister is standing in front of them. Yeah, exactly. Like this is kind of, and what's funny is there is, and people say, does this invalidate everything? What's funny about this is that I made a comment earlier. She says the quiet part out loud, and I'm going to play this all the way through, and then we'll give our observations.
It's rare that a client throws a lawyer under the bus this hard, or a witness throws. Because this is the point where a lawyer starts maybe making calls to their insurance agent.
Yeah. So here we go.
He doesn't know who hit him because he got knocked out.
But
so
that was your belief.
That was my belief at the time. And I was like, I didn't read that question or hear that question correctly.
And you did have an opportunity to make corrections to your deposition, did you not?
I did.
And you did not make that correction.
I actually
Did you make that correction or not?
I made the corrections and
Did you?
I did not submit them in time because I was told by my dad's attorneys that that will be a red flag and to just drop it. And I did not submit that revised.
So did you make other corrections to your deposition that your dad's lawyers told you not to submit?
Pause.
I had made,
Yes or no?
did,
First of all,
yeah,
did you see the judge's expression?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to that exact moment real quick. Hang on.
Did you?
Let's see.
So
and I did not submit
Hang on.
by my dad's attorneys that that will be a red flag and to just drop it.
Pages stop flipping from the podium, so you don't hear pages flip. Look.
And I did not submit that revised.
So did you make other corrections to your deposition that your dad's lawyers told you not to submit?
I had made,
Yes or no?
did
Did
say
you
that
make
again.
other corrections to your deposition that your dad's lawyers told you not to give me? Yes or no?
I made corrections.
The answer is yes.
It's not a simple yes and no.
Well,
Judge knows that he smells blood in the water.
Oh man. The thing is, I am super careful to never have a moment like this because I would rather like a witness come to my house and throw a hand grenade through my window than be testifying under oath basically as to like, oh my God, this is so bad.
Owens at this point in time, I'm not saying it's a panic moment, but you know what? I have been critical of him. I applaud him for the patience he had here in not showing excitement, because had this been a witness that I had on the stand, this would have been hard to mask some level of excitement. And by excitement, I just mean like heightened emotional state.
Also, the other thing. He means the other thing too.
Like this is because the thing is, and let me clarify something, because there's an incorrect statement that he makes here, and it didn't get called out, and a lot of people were kind of viewing this wrong. An errata sheet. What is an errata sheet? When you finish a deposition, you have the right well, at least I'm going to speak under Virginia law, but I think most states have adopted this. If I am being deposed or deposing somebody in Virginia, they have the right to do a reading. They have the right to read through the transcript to make sure that what the court reporter transcribed was an accurate transcription of what was stated. So we oftentimes during those depositions, we will say, will you waive the reading? Which means that the deponent, the person being deposed, says, I don't need to review this. I trust you. Go ahead and sign off on it. Or you can say, I don't waive the reading. I want to reserve my right to read through the transcript and make sure that it's accurately transcribed. That is what he's referring to, that you have the right to submit corrections in an errata sheet. Those are corrections to the transcription itself. You do not have the right to change your answers. And this is something that he kind of mischaracterizes here, and it walks her into this, and she just jumps. Go ahead, Ian.
Here's the thing, though. As part of my witness prep, I tell witnesses, if you give an answer and you realize it's a bad answer, correct yourself at the earliest opportunity, including if you have to interject. And I've had witnesses who took that to heart, who are asked, like they say, like, it's like, what did you do on Tuesday? Oh yeah, on Tuesday we went and, I went grocery shopping and I, walked the dog and this. And then they're being asked another question. It's like, so where was the knife? And they're like, before I answer that, let me say, when I answered your question about what I did on Tuesday, I actually, I forgot the grocery shopping was on Wednesday. I went drinking on Tuesday. And the thing is that early correction can just gut a cross-examination because it can prevent people from impeaching you.
And this is great too, because the other thing is in depositions, if I'm the attorney on the other side, depositions get heated and attorneys play games during depositions all the time.
Yeah.
Let me give you a pretty good example. During one of the depositions I've been in front of, I knew an attorney who told me a story afterwards, and I found it to be truthful because later on I heard from the opposing counsel that actually was at that deposition, where the attorney said that at the deposition, in the middle of the deposition, when objections kept on coming, the attorney said in a very low voice, said, "Counsel, I would appreciate if you stop yelling at my client when you make your objections. They're noted for the record." And he said it in a calm voice, and nothing prior to that were yells. And what it was it was a sandbag of the transcript so that he could read that at trial during testimony he knew was damning. And I was like, oh shit, that's a really good move. It's shady, but it's a good move. In depositions, when a witness says something that they got wrong, for example, if she heard the question wrong, and she says, I want to go back and clarify, opposing counsel is very likely to say, you don't get to do that. I then get to have a fight on the record and say, you either let her clarify now or we're walking out of here. And they will, because they're not going to risk that. You see a lot of these really nasty fights during depos, and it's a big member measuring contest that oftentimes occurs. And yeah, this was bad though, because the errata sheet, Ian is right. She should have corrected the substance of that, but years ago.
The thing is if, like, from my perspective, as you know, in practice, I might have had her do like a follow-up affidavit to just say, I testified to this at the deposition. I have realized that I testified in error. The correct thing is this. And then the other side can then redepose you on that affidavit. Like, they can depose on the affidavit, but then they can't say you knew about this the whole time. Like, you can really undercut that cross-examination. And the thing is that looks fantastic for a witness. Hey, you knew you got something wrong
and you corrected it.
And you tried to correct it because you're super honest is what that looks like. Right.
Yeah. And going to the quiet part being said out loud, I have no doubt that the attorneys told her this. I have no doubt that Paltrow's attorneys probably said similar statements to other people. I have no doubt that every attorney has this conversation with either a witness or a client that says,
but how often does the witness
do this?
Drop it in?
That's why it's like saying the quiet part out loud. Lawyers have these discussions because it's looking at what she would have corrected in the errata sheet and saying, no, let's not correct that here. I can explain it easier if you get up and say, I didn't understand the question at that time.
Well,
because
and also,
honestly,
a
lot of times,
it's just, let's wait to see if they catch it is part of it.
Part of it's that. And a lot of times, here's the thing. Lawyers ask questions in a slippery way. They do. They ask confusing questions, misleading questions. They ask questions that are intended, compound questions where you answer yes and you don't realize you're answering yes to both questions. So there are questions that get answered that need clarification. That can happen. What you don't say is this. You don't say in front of the jury that your father's attorneys said that what you testified to at a deposition was a red flag if you try to correct it.
Because now the jury is like, oh, that's a huge red flag. And also, now those lawyers seem greasy AF.
And the thing is, Owens goes down, and this is where we're going to end my recap of Paltrow tonight, because we're going to go to Ian's. We'll do Gwyneth's testimony there. But this is one of those things where Owens doesn't know when enough is enough. And he makes a complaint at the end of the day about timing and scheduling. And a lot of his timing and scheduling complaints are because of his own inability to kind of realize where you've made your point. And it's time wasting.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain points where I was just like, he made the like this point. I would have ridden this point for much longer than he did. I would have been like, okay, so their lawyers are telling you not to say, like, not to tell the truth. Like, you're saying that this is the truth. Yes. Yeah. You wanted to correct this. Yes. Yes. They told you not to. Yes. Yes. That correction is the truth. Yes. Yes. They told you not to tell the truth to us. Yes. Great. How can we rely on anything else you say if you're taking these kinds of instructions from their counsel? Great. Sit down and you're done with this witness.
Exactly. But it's the
You have
questions
set
you
fire
ask.
to their life, and oh my God.
And it's the questions you ask. And it's maintaining composure in that moment to organize your thoughts and realize your cross was going somewhere, and the points you wanted to hit are not as important as the ones you hit right there. And you drop those, you reorganize, and you basically say, I need 5 more questions, and you make them the 5 most impactful questions you can to make the point, and you sit down on that point.
I had a trial where I had like 6 pages of cross-exam questions that I wanted to get through. And I don't script out my questions, but I script out like the points I want to get to.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of points I wanted to get to. And this witness dropped something that was so big that I ended up hitting that and then leaving behind like 4 pages of points that I wanted to get to.
Yep.
Because they weren't necessary. Like, they weren't like, if I don't put this in evidence, then it's not then I can't argue it. It was just, this witness is done, and I want to end on this witness screwing up, because everything else I might ask is pushing that back in the judge's memory.
Yep.
So,
and the additional clarification on that point, which I love, is people complain about how lawyers charge money. They do, because what they're doing is they're strategizing and they're gaming out every scenario. When a lawyer shows up in court, they might have 15 or 20 pages of notes. They might have a binder that's 500 pages deep. They might have all of this. They have planned every possible scenario they should have, every scenario they can foresee. And what they might use at trial might be 10% of that. But it's knowing what 10% to use and when to use it. And when that remaining 90% is just overkill and is getting you further away from your goal than closer to your goal. So yes, people are paying lawyers to do a ton of research and a lot of hours into a case, but it's because of that. It's that trial practice and experience where they know that 10% when they see it.
Absolutely. I'm going to switch over because I think I'm going to take like 2 minutes to use a machine in the other room and then get everything set up. I'll
play through the conclusion of this, and I'll see you in a bit.
Sounds good. See you in a bit.
All right, so we're going to play the rest of this where he goes through the last minute questions, and then I'll go ahead and wrap up with our questions here, and this stream will automatically redirect to Ian. In case you don't get automatically redirected, because you do have to have automatic redirect set up, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to put the link in the description to the video so that you can see it, because I know that what YouTube has been doing is they will redirect about 15 to 20% of the people who are watching. And a lot of you probably do want to watch some more of this analysis. So I'm going to put the link in the description of the video so you can see it. And I'm also going to pin it to the chat so that you can see it there as well. Let me see. Susan, it's allergies. I'm trying. It's just, I'm working on it. It's allergies. It's killing me right now. And I do know that it's a problem. I don't want to sound this way. Runkle's recap stream. There's the link. So you guys can see that in the description of this video. And then what I will do is also put it in the chat. Give me one moment. Thank you guys for being patient. Y'all are freaking awesome. If you have not liked the video, please do so. Please do so. It's very important to the channel that we can get the likes there. And then if you haven't subscribed to the content, Friday Night Frenzy is one of my favorite things because I get to break down a bunch of different cases and stories over the week and cover some relevant stuff, and usually have a panel of people on to talk about it. So thank you very much. If you would like to kindly subscribe, that would mean a whole lot to me. It'd be great. Let me see here. Let me grab that, pin that message. There we go. Squirrel, I see your message just after I pinned it. Of course I did. So let's do this. We're going to watch the rest and we're going to go through some of the questions, and we'll jump over to Ian.
I'm not happy if you made corrections to your deposition that were never sent to me. So I'm wondering, you made corrections to your deposition and you gave them to your dad's lawyers? Is
No,
that
I did
true?
not. I did not give them to my dad's lawyers.
It's the commentary.
Can I rely on your deposition here?
Can you rely on it? At the moment in time, I believed that my dad knew who hit him. As I reread it later at home, I thought that you answered it wrong, Shay.
All right.
So-
what are some other corrections that you've made to your deposition that
I can't.
I've never heard of until this?
You heard Ian give his synopsis of where he would go with the questions. And now you get to see what Owens is doing. I would not do what is happening right now. This is now too drawn out. He hasn't made the point. He's going and he's being passive aggressive with it. Get to the point. Make the point. The commentary, the I'm not happy. Yeah, you're right. Squirrel, I see you. You don't have to. I saw you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw you. Yes, I'm gonna pull those up. Let me do that real quick before I start replaying this. I do have to, before I forget. There's been a lot of gifted memberships. You guys have been remarkably generous with those. Thank you. So Hemplin TX, thank you. 50 gifted memberships. Lady Drake, 10 gifted memberships. Neurodivergent Counselor, 20 gifted memberships. Joshua, 15 gifted memberships. Alex, 5. Brentwood Chic, 5. Becky, 5. Barney Cat, 20. Sandra, 40. Oh my God, guys. Allie, 10. Chuck, 10. Canonical Heat, 10. Stilla, 10. And Samantha, 20. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. Thank you. Thank you for help growing the channel, and thank you for all of that. I love doing it. Shop stream on Sunday. So to the new members, we'll set up a shop stream. I have a new book to read, so we'll do that. Thank you. Going back to the topic. So Owens can't really get to the point. He's dodging around it, and he loves the commentary so much that he can't reach the point. However, I do love the young lady's expression back here in the back, the little smirk. That's kind of funny. He just doesn't get there. I wish he would, because it's a good point to make. Make it and sit down. So let's see where he goes with it.
I can't remember. I think one was that they kept calling Zakia Jackie. Some mostly were just minor clarifications.
Do you understand why I might be a little irritated in hearing that you made changes that I never got?
Yes, no one got them.
It's the commentary.
They never got submitted.
Your dad was a workaholic. Is that fair?
Later in my life, he became a workaholic when my parents' relationship was not as good as it used to be.
Your dad, prior to the ski collision, forgot to tell you that he loved you very much. Do you agree?
I'm going to have you restate that.
These are your words. Your dad forgot to tell me that he loved me very much. Is that true of your dad prior to the ski collision?
I don't understand this part.
Just say.
Let me ask you this. let me ask you this. You just made the point that Owens makes of, I can't trust your deposition, therefore I can't trust what you're saying on the stand. You didn't make the point well. So, you know, you didn't make the point well. But then you go back and you want to make the secondary argument about your dad loving you. Tell me that doesn't sound a little personal. And look, here's the problem that I have. Shay, her credibility is a serious issue for dad's case. It's a big problem. I don't know why I don't know why they put her up on the stand. I have an issue with that. But how he ends this, that was where I'm kind of going with when I talk about the back and forth and the exchange between them, and where Ian gets to the place where he's awarding Paltrow. And I'm looking at this going, I don't know that I'm there, because every point that Owens can make, he doesn't bring the point home. Or he goes down this sidetrack where I'm saying, why are you bringing up this irrelevant crap and talking about stuff like this? It was really, really, really uncomfortable. And gracefully insane. I'm with you. She hurt the case. But also Nicole, great. He should have landed this plane way earlier. Yeah. Here for years. Thank you. Is it possible Owens is out of his depth and doesn't know what to do in this situation? I don't know. I really don't know, because it's the commentary that shows a lack of respect for the system and a lack of respect for the court. And I do not agree with that. When he's making the little side comments or the observations without a question, that is not what a lawyer is supposed to do. You're not supposed to argue at every occasion. You look like an ass, which you guys might have seen the ass over his shoulder on the thumbnail. He apologized for being an ass and then went to back being an ass. And this 1 points for me, from my eyes, came to Gwyneth Paltrow. Because yes, she ends up passing him a note that tells him to land this plane. And I was trying to get to that. Let me see if I can get to it. Let's see here. We'll probably play it. Let me see.
Say yes or no, please.
For my dad. I don't recall.
Growing up, I'm not making this quote up.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, he forgot to tell me. Sure, I can. Page 78, line 16. I'm not.
That means he went back to his notes. So that right there means he went back to his notes. So he got through that 10% and he went back to his notes.
No, if it's there in the deposition.
I want the quote. He forgot to tell me he loved me very much. Do you agree? This goes to his level of affection after the ski collision.
It's not relevant.
Overruled?
Actually.
So just say yes.
It's not relevant, but sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. One more time and I'll do my best. I may not be able to answer yes or no.
Your dad?
Okay, what's that answer?
From you. He forgot exact what I just said.
78 what?
78, line 17. He forgot to tell me he loved me very much. Did you say those words?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, could she read the whole sentence? You just half a
Maybe
sentence.
that could be helpful.
I
He
mean,
did hug you.
Jesus.
Are you impeaching the witness, or what are we doing here? Why don't we take a recess? It's time for the afternoon recess, and we'll address it.
You know what? The judge. I have made up my mind. I know who I like in this trial. I've made up my mind. I know who I like. This is going to be easy. It's the judge. I like the judge. He's the only character I like. The only person. The judge is awesome. Oh, really? Going after the daughter on like, did he tell you he loved you? Really? I mean, like all the other stuff that you could have like hammered in on, inconsistent statements, making up excuses for dad, going in and going all team dad on the all the different things you could have gone in on because you had them there. They were there. You had her openly saying that she incorrectly stated something in her deposition, then wrote something to correct it, was told not to put it in there, and then admitted that it might not have been consistent. I mean, you don't get gold like that in a trial, but then you go back on the personal. Owens, I'm trying, my guy. I'm trying very hard. And for people who give me crap about my comments about Gwyneth Paltrow, she did great today. I didn't have a problem with her. She did great. This witness was a disaster. The judge is the hero of this trial. Oh, children. Children. Can we please? Oh, okay. Okay, good. I got that off my chest. I feel better now. I feel that brought me a sense of ease just to vent that for a moment because I'm trying. Your Honor, I'm trying. Doesn't make it not leading. I don't know. But they do the afternoon recess. This case. Because the other thing is what he's asking. Here's the thing that makes it kind of disgusting for me. And where Owens, in my perception, like just keeps crossing that line. Every bit of the testimony that we've heard about dad's condition now is that there are these things where his affect, his demeanor is more testy. It is more forgetful. It is more in line with what we see in some of either Alzheimer's, dementia, people that have traumatic brain injury. The affect is there, right? You have her testimony, which is prior to a lot of it, believable about the car incident where the van. She testifies that the daughter is in the van. Her daughter's in the van with her dad. They're all in the van together. Her dad goes around to kind of try and close the door, and daughter's like, "You can't do it." Dad shuts the door and then starts like dunking on the daughter and really going really aggressive with it. Out of his affect and character, demeanor, a lot of crying testimony. And when you hear that, if anyone's ever dealt with people with traumatic brain injury or with dementia or Alzheimer's or in any cognitive error or cognitive issues they're dealing with towards the end of life or towards later years in life, you feel that, you know that, it's real. And what he does is he goes to the commentary about your dad loving you and telling you he loved you or not telling you he loved you. And it's not, lawyers have to do a lot of things. That bothered me. He didn't have to do that. Because you have enough evidence in there that dad's a dick. I'm there. I mean, guy came into the court when not there all week. Gwyneth Paltrow takes a stand. He goes in there and he's eager to get in the middle of the courtroom. It was really awkward. So Owens kind of pissed me off just a bit. So, dad's affect is relevant after the incident because dad has placed it at issue. So dad's affect is relevant. But you can get the affect without attacking the love part. Like you can get there without going after the daughters. He goes after Jenny a lot. I deal with a lot of the family law stuff and I deal with a lot of the sensitive issues that get tried in court. And And when attorneys who don't deal with family law issues or people like that cross-examine people in this manner, pisses me off. Because, you know, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, because every single person with a family, lives in a glass house. You just do. It's what happens. That's family. It's ugly. So that was kind of my synopsis of the daughter. I think it hurt the plaintiff's case more than helped. I don't know why they put her on. I really don't think they needed that testimony. I think it did a lot of damage to their case rather than helping their case. And for the thoughts that I have on Gwyneth Paltrow, I don't think they handled that cross, rather putting her up in the stand very well. I think the plaintiff lost points there as well. So we will see. Hempland, Texas, who's going to cross Terry. Owens mentions the desire to have a longer cross. So I think I'm willing to kind of put money on that. He'll cross Terry. We'll see what happens. It'll be Monday. So let's catch up on Super Chats, and we'll bump you guys over to Ian, and I'll jump on there as soon as I get some food. Just Sarah, thank you. If Afroman goes to trial, I have to go jury watch. That'll be fun. I don't know. We'll see. Nicole, thank you. I have feelings about this trial. Why is everyone so unlikable? I just kind of gave a rant on that. Why am I so invested? Even though I don't like any of them, because you want the story and you don't feel like you're getting it from everybody that's there. Why is the lawyering so fascinatingly weird? Nicole, these are great questions. When you figure out the answer, you let me know. Why can't I look away? Same. When you figure out the answer, you let me know. Thank you. Brandy, question. Has there been any testimony of plaintiff's VA service-connected diagnosis? I think very valid and plays heavily into case damages and calculation. There hasn't been yet. There's been some testimony on treatment, but not a lot. We're not going to get it through the plaintiff's case because the last person to testify is going to be on Monday. It's going to be the plaintiff himself. Melanie, thank you. An exchange of ties is necessary to officialize a bromance. I agree. Thank you. Scotty Cat Mom, in my honest opinion, the mannerisms of both sisters tells me a lot about how these daughters had to learn to navigate a short-fused father their whole lives. They both testified to a family dynamic that, while not uncommon, is not ideal for children to be raised in. Let's put it that way. Janet Dick, thank you. This has been such a hard trial to follow. My mother was diagnosed with dementia in December of 2019. I'm very sorry for that. I'm very sorry for that. And if any of my comments were insensitive, I know they're difficult to hear. I've dealt with it. I hope that you and your family are doing well. The COVID lockdowns prevented her from getting swift treatment, and her regression is irreversible. That happens. And I don't wish that. I have made the comment before. I don't wish that ill on anybody. Rua, the side, thank you. My mom was a difficult woman in her old age. Daughter's testimonies were so triggering with memories of emotional blackmail and gaslighting. Still wouldn't have thrown her under the bus on the stand. This trial is a thing. I don't know how to explain it. Island, thank you. What is you assume what's been said between Jenny is not only true, but they're trying to protect their sister. Rock in a hard place. That's the other part about this. The sister thing. He was trying to put words in her mouth. And also this one too. There was a couple of slips on the daughter versus sister comment. I don't think Jenny got treated really, really well. So I think I kind of feel for Jenny a little bit. So yeah, rock in a hard place, definitely. Thank you, Island. Baby Gator, thank you. If he's sensitive, irritable, whatever the correct wording they use, wouldn't him being in the room during Paltrow's testimony aggravate him the most? I thought so as well. Rua, thank you. You can love your parents but not like them. You absolutely can. I happen to love and like my mom. My dad passed. I love and liked him too. JP, I feel daughters have lost perspective of how strict and cruel their dad always was, because they live in different states now. Seeing him more than 2 years, about 2 times a year, is going to be hard, especially when your children see it. That's a fair observation to have, JP. Thank you for sharing. Andy, hey, buddy. Rob, would you rather have scrambled eggs with Dr. Curry or Gwyneth Paltrow? Based on the eggs that you're talking about, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'd like French toast and not scrambled eggs. Sounds better. Just because, thank you. After Gwyneth's testimony, the story in my head is he blacked out and was coached after, and others are acting in good faith. That's possible. Susie Q, thank you. Why didn't they use her corrections to her depositions? Because she never submitted them or go through them. I hope that I answered that question when I went through the errata part. I really hope that became a little bit more clear. Thank you for the question, Susie. Illegal Vices. My name is Brandon. Hello, Brandon. What are we drinking tonight, boys? I am having a splash of vodka and some ginger. So that's what I'm having this evening. It's fantastic. Heart-shaped aisle. Thank you very much. Rob, can you please tell about correcting a deposition? I did. Not the facts under oath, but the transcription itself. Yes, I made that clarification, and thank you for reminding me, heart-shaped aisle. I did see your super chat when it came in, and that was a part reminder for me to do that. LJ Peach, thank you. I am 66 years old and suffered a severe concussion 2 years ago in an MVA, and was in physical therapy and OT, outpatient therapy, for over 1.5 years, and I'm still having memory and still having trouble finding words and mood issues. I am sorry that you are going through that, and I think that that's one of the hardest parts is you fight for that. Like it's not easy, and people that watch loved ones, family members, friends go through that situation, and you see how hard they're working. It is heartbreaking, but you want to do everything you can. So I appreciate and applaud the efforts that you're putting forward, LJ Peach, and I hope that the therapy continues, and keep working on it. Please don't give up on that. It really is so critical, and it's so important to you, your health, your family, all of it. So stick at it, please. Truffle Hound, thank you very much. What is happening? Did she get hit in the head too? It was weird. Crazy Cat Queen question. Already correction the depot issue for Gwyneth Paltrow appeal? I don't think so. He had the opportunity to cross-examine her on it. That's going to be essentially the end of that. He had the chance to use that information to impeach her. If he did not discover it until she was off the stand, that might have been a different thing. This is a little bit because, sorry, OT, occupational theory. This is different because he had the opportunity to actually address it with her. Joshua, thank you very much. Sweet dreams. Rob, Ian, and chat. Sweet dreams to you. Baby Gator, thank you. I think it would be less of a red flag to realize you were incorrect in your answer at the time than not submit the corrections. Yep. Ian addressed that as well. Thank you, Baby Gator. Shell, thank you very much. I believe he was injured and probably accelerated issues he has, but I think the accident happened somewhere in the middle of their stories. Shell, I'm leaning more towards that, somewhere in between these two, and kind of your conclusion there. Annalise, thank you very much. Question: would you consider arguing that the witness has misgendered the shorter person in the accident wearing ski gear and helmet? Misgendered the short person. Oh, this Paltrow testifies to that as well. The height of the two individuals. It was kind of odd. The height and weight. She called him a big man. He is, when you see him stand in the middle of the well, he's not a big man. So that made me rather curious as well. So I kind of want to see what I wait for him to testify. I want him to testify. Braxton, thank you. Sending an email. It's an ADHD rant. Ooh, those are fun. Thank you, Braxton. I'll take a look. Canonical Heat, thank you. Rob, best swoop in the business. Thank you, Canonical Heat. That's very much appreciated. I can slow it down a little bit though. Lauren, thank you very much. Owens is 100% responsible for the time wasted in this trial. He takes his time. He really, really does take his time. It's pretty wild, and it's rather frustrating when you're like, you've made your point. You have made your point. So, yeah, pretty wild. Mary, question, I tagged this one. Rob, as a lawyer, do you feel Owens should not have to read his client's message out loud? A couple things. He asks his client, he asked Paltrow on the stand, didn't you tell me? That kind of, that's attorney-client information. You're not supposed to do that. Like, that's really kind of bad. I thought that was stupid. I mean, I don't mean like that. Like, that's kind of violating your client's own privilege by saying that. Is it a baby open to the door? I don't know. They didn't really jump into it, so they didn't really use it. But I don't like a lot of the tactics that I've seen. I really don't. Here for years, Rob, go get a drink, punch a wall, then come back. Maybe I'll do that. Tianina is awesome. Just not just reading a super chat. Tianina, you are great. I love the back and forth. You're funny. You enjoy your time in the chat. Keep it going. Thank you for being here. Very much, very, very much appreciated. Joe Doris, thank you. Rob, poor Rob, you were so pissed off. Your ears were burning. They weren't burning. They were just, I was rather pissed. Danielle, thank you. Did you get a voicemail like from Montegraph threatening an ethics complaint? I did. Saved in my office. It's funny. It's funny. Made me chuckle. But I save things like that. I don't really just go out and flaunt it. So it's just saved, sitting there if I ever need it for a rainy day. If so, then you may find this interesting link in your Twitter DMs. Ooh, thank you, Danielle. I'll take a look at that. History teacher Lisa, thank you very much. Appreciation for your thoughtfulness and kind insights. Thank you very much, history teacher Lisa. And thank you, Lisa. That is appreciated. Jackie, thank you, Jackie. So hard to listen to the changes in their father. To me, it sounds a lot like the natural progression of dementia my mom went through after her stroke and then dementia. It has been a challenge hearing some of that because it's part of it is how much of this is tied to an incident and how much of this is tied to a natural regression. And I don't know that we've seen a whole lot in the way of testimony that really highlights that it's incident related and only incident related. So we'll see where that goes. But this brings us to the conclusion of a rather abbreviated FNF. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. Look, we hit 3 stories. 3 stories in 2 hours and 17 minutes. That's pretty awesome. I think that's a record. 3 stories, all 3 of which were fun and interested. Oh no, Jan, I might have been kicked off when I saw that. Jan, what'd you send? I'm sorry. Send a regular chat. I'll see if I can, because if I'm kicked off, I can't pull those things up. Roro, thank you for the super sticker. Very much appreciated. Laura Blair, thank you, Rob. I love your takes, even when you will take it to the end. I'm sure this is why you're such a good lawyer. I get frustrated. And I don't really mind sharing frustration when I see stuff that bothers me a little bit. Jan, I'm waiting for a little bit. If you can just drop that chat in here. I didn't mean to miss anything. Super Sip tonight. Yep, I was. That was fun. You also said TBI shows a scan. Yes, I saw that. That TBI was there beforehand. Not sure what it was. Now could we do 4 hours on Ian's stream? I'm going to leave a lot of that to you guys. Honestly, that's up to you. I don't know if I want to hear the plaintiff. I'm rather concerned about what he might say. Jan, if you're still out there, drop a chat, please. I don't want to miss any of those super chats. Because I do know that it's important that you guys, when you guys send those in, I try to get all of them. I just want to make sure here. Brentwood Chic, another 5 gifted memberships, and Just Because, another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. You guys are pretty amazing. So let's do this. Jan, if you want to send me a DM with whatever question you had, I can try to mention that on Ian's stream. Please do. And we will kind of catch you guys over there. Jada, that should be linked up in the top of the chat. So if you go up to the very top of the chat, there's a little pinned link. That link will take you to Ian's channel. Ian's channel is Runkle of the Bailey. So that is pinned to the comments. It is also in the description below. It should be say Runkle's channel is there. And you can go ahead and hit that link. And I hope to see you guys all there. If you are tagging around, it will redirect you automatically. I'm going to wrap this up and I'll see you guys over there in a little bit. We get some food and we'll go from there. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. Happy Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and hopefully I'll catch you guys in a few minutes. Good night, guys.